you know for yourself
It's what you want.
what the ideal is for you to feel your best. Are you doing it or not?
Welcome back to the Illuminated Path. This is episode 82. What are we talking about today?
What to look out for if you're really feeling out of alignment, what that means, and just signs to be mindful of and things you may or may not be doing. I kind of actually felt like this was relevant because I almost feel like we're coming out of like a winter slump.
Yeah.
I struggle in the winter. I really do. And I feel lazier and I have a hard time with like not being as productive and all the things. And I just miss the sun and the warmth and I miss being outside more. So you just feel like not your best.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for me, obviously winter, but also, the past year of my life was just trading and like learning and mentorships and classes and testing and studying. And I think I've really reached a point of like, I'm neglecting a lot of the other aspects of my life.
Yeah.
So this feels really relevant.
Yep.
How's the week?
Good. I'm now, when this comes out tomorrow, I'm 27 weeks, which is my last week of the second trimester,
Yeah,
which is literally crazy to think about.
it's flying by.
We have so much to do and we've also done so much. So just really excited to meet this little one so soon.
Yeah, very excited.
How about you?
Just tired. Just getting back in a routine. We sat down and like really had to redo our schedules entirely, and there's some adjustments. Not that it's anything crazy. It's just really trying to make sure I'm doing what I need to do for me as far as fasting and exercising, and I'm very tired at the end of the day.
Yeah,
We're having full days. I don't think we've ever recorded at night, have we?
we have. It's been a while,
Yeah. So we're recording at night and
but
trying
it's
to make it
still
all work.
light out, which is nice.
Well, we've also got great lighting equipment. You wouldn't be able to tell anyway.
I know, but it's actually light outside right now.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to get us started?
Yeah, so signs to kind of be mindful of, to really recognize if you're just out of alignment, like you're not feeling like your best self. What you can look out for, how to be mindful and aware of this. So we just wanted to talk about things to look for to like the awareness stage, because next week's episode we're going to be sharing just some different like routines and habits and things to implement that really help us feel our best and can really help you get out of like that funk if you're kind of feeling like you're stuck in one.
Yeah.
All right, so I feel like this is going to be kind of a quick one, but
It's fine.
some signs to be mindful of. So if you feel like you are just really stressed, overwhelmed, you are ruminating in your mind a lot, that's usually a sign that something is off, like something bigger is off. There's a reason why you're feeling like this on a regular basis.
Yeah.
If you find yourself not eating well,
That was me.
yeah.
Mhm.
And that goes along with maybe you're craving more sweets or
Also
you're
me.
emotionally eating.
Also me.
So do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? Because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
I just think for me, um, love my parents to death, but I didn't get the best eating habits, growing up. And I think that's been something I've had to really, I think I talked about this in a recent episode. Like I've really had to break that cycle many times in my life.
Mhm.
Um, and unfortunately it's not something I've, just kicked and never had to deal with again. But I do like when I find myself, I'm not eating well. I find myself like the next morning, like shame, like just not feeling good, not feeling like I put my best effort in. So that's something that comes up. And then I'm in that cycle again later that night of
Mhm.
like, oh, I want chocolate chips. I want, to eat something. I want a snack. I want cheese and crackers. I want to, whatever. So I think there's these telltale signs for me that I'm in that cycle. Um, and so much of that really is just checking in with myself in the morning and being able to ask myself, like, how are you feeling? And also at night, if I go to bed and I'm feeling bloated, I ate too much,
Yeah.
So I really enjoy feeling a little hungry and fasting and knowing that my body is, working through my digestive system, getting through the glucose in my liver and doing those things. Um, so I think that I've learned to kind of keep an eye out for some of these signs and also have things that happen to me that give me the opportunity to check back in and have that awareness and say, like, okay, you're not feeling great. Why? What's going on? You know, did did you do something to get you here? And yes, that generally leads me back to emotional eating, eating at night, or I'm having too much sugar, whatever it is.
Right. And a lot of times you're using that to get dopamine
Mm-hmm.
and like to feel better because without those things, you're not feeling so great. Like something is off,
Mm, yeah.
which, like you just said, like you kind of we looked at our schedules and you're prioritizing things to make you feel better. But when you're not prioritizing those things, it's a lot easier to fall into,
Yeah.
using food as like a distraction.
Well, I've said to you, like, I have a much easier time eating well when I exercise
Right.
because I know I already put in that work and I don't want to, work against myself. So I think that's something that helps me tremendously. And it all goes together. There's no one thing you do that just makes it all work. It's really the culmination of everything. And so I know I got up early today to work out and lift, and that felt good. I also had more calories as I went through the day. So like everything kind of, goes together, but it helps to have practices in place that support your overall feeling.
Yeah. Being tired all the time, which is
Yeah.
something a lot of people experience, and there could be many, many reasons behind why you might be tired, but we're not meant to be like we shouldn't feel that way. So if you are feeling that way, it's a sign to like look into why that might be happening, and there are things you can do to improve that.
Yeah.
If you're feeling like moody or emotional, um for me, I think I get emotional when I'm not feeling great, especially during pregnancy. I'm just emotional. And when I feel emotional, I've had a couple random days where I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I just
Yeah.
don't feel good today. I don't feel like normal or like myself. And then I just like find myself crying and I'm like, no idea where this is coming from. Can't explain myself.
Yeah.
But, like there's also something off. I mean, yes, there's the pregnant part of it that's like just hormonal, but also, I was feeling really stuck being inside, like not having warm weather. And I was just like, ugh, like this is just not feeling good.
Yeah.
Not being good at communication with others, with your partner, with whomever. Like,
That's a good one.
yeah, I mean, we've had this happen several times and
I think there's like irritability that comes up between us, and there's this tension, and we don't always do great with it. But I think you and I have done a very good job at always actively trying to repair.
mm,
And, not that we're there right away, but we always try to connect with each other and be able to say, like, what's going on? Like, why are we answering each other like this? Or,
mhm,
what's the situation? So,
right. It's not normal to like be snapping
no.
all the time at your partner or at other people or just being short or like, like whatever we do, which becomes kind of a normal way to respond to people sometimes, especially the people that you're like closest to,
Yeah.
like isn't a normal thing. Like, yeah, it might come up once in a while, but if you're finding like the communication is like off or you are feeling a little more short with someone, it's probably because you're not feeling good. You're stressed.
Yeah.
You got stuff going on in your own mind. And so it's just coming out that way.
Yeah.
Being restless.
Mm. This one, this is so me. Like when I don't lift, I get so restless and I already have a hard time sleeping at night. Like that's the bane of my existence. But
You've
literally,
come such a long
I've come
way.
such a long way.
Don't say
It
that anymore.
it takes me so much time to fall asleep, but when I fall asleep, I'm out and it's great.
Hmm,
But like
can't relate.
in the past in the past year or two, I would say maybe 3, I'm I'm pretty consistently getting to about 8 hours a night, which is
Mhm.
like the first time in my life I've been doing that. Um Historically I've been like 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours, 6 hours, and then I would have a day where it was like 14 hours. So, no, I think when I find myself restless, that's like communication to me that I did not exert myself enough that day.
Right.
Um, and so that generally is one of the biggest signs for me that I need to get more active and that I'm not putting in enough effort personally um, with my exercise because that is the very thing that helps regulate my sleep is I need like rigorous exercise.
Yeah, but it doesn't even have to be rigorous. Like, we are not meant to be these sedentary beings that just
No.
sit down all day at a computer or whatever. Like, we have to get some kind of movement in.
Yeah.
And, that's something that we'll elaborate on in the next episode. But I feel that way too. And I don't need to necessarily have like rigorous activity. But if I, haven't even gone for a walk or done some kind of movement, and even when like I like to get a lot higher of a level of steps, but even like just 2 laps around our block is better than nothing,
Hmm.
especially like those early days of pregnancy in my first trimester. I was so restless because I couldn't do anything. I was glued to the couch and it felt terrible.
Yeah. I know that was rough.
It's like I just live here now. Uh, scrolling a lot, like just finding yourself scrolling on your phone on social media or whatever app of your choice, reading the news, whatever it may be, like when you find yourself just like getting stuck there over and over and over for hours at a time and you lose track of time, it's like, there's a reason it is again another way to get dopamine, but you're probably just stuck in like a chronic state of stress and so you're just distracting yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's looking for that hit of dopamine. I think there's also an element of escapism to it.
Hmm.
And I think that goes also with binge watching TV and playing video games. Um, it's no secret I've been kind of vocal. I do play video games, but I think yeah, we've had probably since the winter where it was like every night I was just sitting down playing games, and it's like I'm not on them for 6 hours a day,
Hmm.
but there were a lot of nights and a lot of hours where it was like 2, 3 hours sometimes. And it's like, I don't, I'm not shaming myself for it. But at the end of that, I don't walk away and go, well, that was time well spent, you know? So I think that it's like anything, like you have to find that balance with it. And I think it's more importantly is if you are scrolling, if you are binge watching TV or playing video games, the larger question is, are you putting off other responsibilities
Right.
to be there and do that?
Yeah.
And there were certainly things that I could have been doing.
And how did your aura ring tell you that you were doing after you spent?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many times we've looked at it, but I know one night
Yep.
it
I
said you were very stressed.
my aura tells me that Call of Duty before bed is not a good idea.
Hmm.
Very stressed.
Yeah. So, um, again, it's not like don't do these things, and we had a harder time in the winter because it's dark outside at 5 o'clock and you're exhausted and you're just like, well, all of the main responsibilities are done. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit on the couch,
Yeah.
and you just kind of fall into that. But
But
it
again,
doesn't
like
feel good.
I wasn't lifting and I had no energy
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have that boost in energy from actually exerting myself. So it was like my baseline was so much lower. So at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, I'm sitting down. And it's like, that's not great.
Yeah, a few months ago, we probably wouldn't have like recorded this episode at night. We probably would have been like,
Hell no.
no.
Hell no. But now it's sunny again. We're outside, we're walking. Like, it's just very different.
Yeah.
I mean, we had an issue. Our sump pump failed and I fixed it.
Good job, babe.
Thanks. But it was like, I actually like, went and did it. A lot of times I just kind of wait for your dad because he's Mr. Handy. So it's like, he's going to come by. So I was like, all right, you know what? I got this. And it's been good. I think like the weather makes such a difference. Such a
does.
difference. Like, feel like a whole different person. Let's move on. This is taking forever.
No, it's not. It's been like 13 minutes. We're
No,
good.
I was rambling. That's all.
So with that, with all of these signs, like if you're just not feeling like yourself and you're finding yourself doing all of these things, like become aware of it. And also become aware of things that you are probably either doing or not doing that can also be contributing to this. This is important to also become aware and mindful of like, yeah, I'm not doing that, or I should be doing that, or
Yeah.
and I don't mean to say should because I always say don't say should, but
Right.
like you know for yourself
It's what you want.
what what the ideal is for you to feel your best. Are you doing it or not?
Right.
So are you prioritizing your rest or not?
Okay. All right. I want to comment on this because for all the issues I've had falling asleep, the greatest thing I've done is reminding myself when I get in bed at night, I love to go to bed. Very comfortable. I love to rest. Because I always used to get so in my head of like, oh, I hope I sleep tonight. I hope I get some rest. I wonder how long it's going to take me to fall asleep. And that was just like a very simple way that I flipped the script and just started like trying to convince myself of like, I enjoy being in bed and going to sleep, And even like when I read at night, so I'll put my Kindle down and then I'll even do it then and just be like, I'm so comfortable. I'm so looking forward to a restful night of sleep. Like that's been a huge help for me. That really has helped me. So
Good.
hopefully that helps someone.
Yeah. Not getting outside enough. We really need like fresh air and sunlight.
We've talked about sunshine. We've talked about the chemicals in the air. It's all healing your body.
And I know for a fact we weren't getting outside enough in the winter, and you feel the effects of it very quickly.
Yep.
Not moving your body enough. Whatever form of exercise that is for you, you need to move in some way.
Yeah.
Not eating well, not eating whole foods. Like we were saying before, you find yourself eating just processed junk all the time. If you know that you're doing this, there's likely consequences for it. Why are you laughing?
I'm just thinking about, all right, so my weakness, my guilty indulgence for processed food, Creators, cheese and caramel popcorn. And if I buy a bag of that, I am eating the whole bag.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that like when you found that, it wasn't even that long ago that you
No.
found it. It was probably over a year ago.
Yeah.
And then several times you would buy it and eat the whole bag. And then you bought it and you were like, I'm not going to eat the whole bag. And you did okay a few times and you like made it last 2 days instead of 1 day. And then recently we were at Target and we had to spend like $6 more to get $20 off. And I was like, okay, obviously like spend the $6 more. Our bill's
Yeah.
going to be cheaper.
Yep.
And you run out to go get some stuff. And then he comes back and he's like, I got Creators. I don't want to hear it. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't say anything, but he ate the whole bag.
Yep.
And then you didn't feel so good, did you?
No, I didn't. And I'm very, very happy to be on a fasting schedule again.
Yeah.
And eating an appropriate amount of calories.
Not having enough connection with loved ones. If you're finding yourself really like alone or just not seeing people or not checking in with people, like you need some form of connection. If you're finding yourself isolating yourself,
Yeah.
then, maybe reach out to someone.
Yeah. I mean, you and I connected recently on this and said like we don't feel like we're connecting enough throughout the day because there's just so much that we're doing and being more intentional about taking that time.
Yeah. Not engaging in hobbies that you enjoy, like you love to do something and you're just putting it off, not doing it.
Music.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
didn't
say that,
record
but
like all winter. I just was not. I feel like there was there were a lot of reasons. Like my office was in the cramped like gym room next to the sauna, but now, I have it
you bet you
and
weren't in the right mind. Like you weren't
no.
there.
But I also feel like I want, like my next chapter of music is a much more consistent chapter. Like I've put out some music, but I really want to like be putting out music.
Yeah. And the last one I have is not really having like a routine or schedule of some sort. And I'm not saying you have to have like this very strict thing, but when you figure out like a routine for yourself, maybe it's a morning routine, an evening routine, or just like some sort of schedule of or ways that you fit things in throughout the week, knowing that you're getting to things that are important to you. If you're not doing any of that, then you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to not prioritize these things. And then it's just not going to feel so good because you're like, well, didn't get to that again.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, that's, and I think that was the big thing too. Like with me trading, there was no, our whole schedule's adjusted because like I'm on the charts for that time. But I think a big part of our issues as of late was really like not knowing how long am I on the charts, what other things are scheduled. And that was why I think it was so valuable for us to sit down and like reorganize everything. So I think even if it's not your hard to a T, every minute is accounted for. I think we've done that enough times to know it doesn't work for us. But this time we did like a 15-minute buffer in between everything. And I think if anything runs over, we're in a good spot. Right. So having that kind of framework for like what has to get done in a day and when it's getting done has been really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Because we know when things are getting done. And then it's not like this stressful thing like, oh gosh, we procrastinated this all week
Yeah.
and
Like
now
when
we
can
have
I
to get to it.
squeeze it in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. So, next episode, we're going to talk about some routines and habits and things that you can maybe try and work on, add into your own schedule to help you feel better and feel more aligned.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.